you're doing Leonardo DiCaprio's birthday party tonight. I was like, what?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Get Off the Mic. Today, we are here with one of my favorite people in the world.
My favorite person.
Pink Dots is here today. Great DJ. Honestly, one of the first people who taught me how to DJ.
No, you know what? Before we even get started, I've always had a gripe with that because personally, I don't feel like I showed you how to DJ. Like I gave you some pointers and was like, hey, use your pulses, your body. And you were already doing that because you dance while you DJ. So I never felt that way. And like when people would say that to me, the first thing I would be like, absolutely not, you know? And the growth that you've done, like you show me stuff now. And like, so it's like a mutual thing. It's just, you know, like we both love DJing so much, and it's like it's not even like an afterthought. It's like a career choice, and it's like a, you know, if people ask me what I do, I'm like, I'm a DJ, you know. And it's the same thing with you. It's not like, oh, you know, I'm studying to do this or I want to do this.
But I also do to know.
Yeah, no, it's definitive.
Life,
it's like, yeah, and that to me is like, it's so amazing because it's so freeing when you finally make that commitment and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm a DJ. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to do, you know, I don't want to work at fucking Walmart. Like I DJ, that's what I do. That is like my blood.
Literally.
And like, it's such a great artistic flow, you know, to live in, you know, and it's not necessarily financially the best decision to make because, you know, you really have to like,
It's ups and downs.
yeah, it's a struggle.
Sure.
Like it's a fight to get your money, and you know, it's like,
my God, that's the worst.
you know, and the sadness that I feel about DJing is we provide so much for these environments. Like we are the ones that make the party go, and without us, like there is no party. But the way that we're compensated for doing this, it doesn't match at all.
No.
Like if I were a club owner, I would pay DJs a lot of money because I feel their importance to making the party go is everything.
It's the whole vibe of the party. If there's not a DJ, there's not a party.
You know, like
Someone told me I couldn't wear ripped jeans to their venue. I said, do you want music?
Exactly. Like it's, you know, and it's, you know, the amount of time that's spent, like people, I don't know if people realize like how unnerving it is to DJ. The only way I can describe it is like, it's like standing up and having to do like a presentation in front of your class at, you know, 5 years old and having to do that presentation for 4 hours, you know, like it's one thing to stand up in front of a club for 5 minutes and be the center of attention. But to do that for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours it takes a lot of building your confidence to be in that place and do it properly. Because if you look at most DJs, they're nervous as fuck. They're nervous as fuck. They don't know, like their communication skills in that nervous situation don't necessarily come across because a lot of times you'll ask them something and they'll be like, get away from me. You know, and it's not that they feel superior, they're just nervous, you know? And it's one thing to have to play for people, it's another thing to have to communicate with them because most of the people are coming up with high energy, nervous energy, and that affects your psyche and your groove, you know? So I understand like that some people don't understand that about DJs, but it's very nerve-wracking. Just, you know, you try it. You stand up in front of a club and they're looking at you to make the party go for hours on end.
And if you don't have that confidence, then it's going to come across and it's going to affect the way the audience is reacting. So you have to like, whether you're nervous or not, and I think we're both like past that.
Of course.
But it comes across and like, you just have to fake it. I remember there was a period of time where like I couldn't DJ without you. next to me.
Nah,
Because it was the nerves. Like, I mean, I was new and I was being thrown into like big venues thanks to like people like you. And I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing, but here I am. Let's fake it.
No, you killed it. Like, I remember your first gig.
Yeah, the W?
The W.
Yeah.
Right,
who does their first DJ gig at the big, huge W pool party with like...
But I knew you could do it. I knew you could do it. You know, and thanks to Shifo, our homie, he believed in you and he still believes in you. You know, like, I knew you could do it. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to throw her in the water.
And that was the best way, I think, because,
of course,
you know, like once you're, and then, you know, after the second song, you're not nervous anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but I was like really, really new. And I was just thinking like of all the things like, oh my God, what if this goes wrong? What if I mess up? But it's insane to see how far my skill set has come.
Of course.
And like,
I'm amazed by it.
It just became so addicting. And you were there to see like that whole.
No, of course. Well, like I said, I knew, and like you killed it. Like we killed it. Like you were killing it by yourself, and then I came on and DJ'd with you, and we fucking murdered it.
We always murder it. Our shows are you're my favorite person to go B2B with because the energy is just like it is so there.
Well, we both share that same passion, and like. The ability to make the music that we DJ make us dance, and that energy, and it's not forced. It's not like you know we don't need a whole bunch of like chemicals or alcohol to get us there. It's just it's in our DNA. So you know, same for me. Like I live to go back to back with you.
Yeah, same.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It's honestly the most fun moment. Like if I scan my entire life, one of my favorite moments is like where it was like an ultimate high. Is that underground rave that we played when we played Underwear, right?
Yeah.
Whew, that was so fun. It was like 4 a.m.
Yeah. And mad shout to our Underwear family. Love them, you know.
Great underground rave in LA if you want to get involved in that scene.
Yeah,
that's a must.
For sure. Yeah, that was.
I can't even believe that takes place in LA.
Yeah, like no, the rave culture in LA is sick. You know,
super fire,
super sick. Like you know, like I have a lot of friends and family, like the Sextasy family. Love those guys. Lick and Dip, Dylan, that whole crew. Love them to death. Love what they're doing now. They're just really like taking it to the next level and like
they
doing
really are.
Like, have you seen the fashion shows that they've been doing?
Oh no,
we gotta go. They've been doing these sick fashion shows. They've done like 2 or 3 of them. The last one.
Is it in the ones in like the plane? Did they throw one in the what is it called where you park planes?
Oh, in a hangar?
In a hangar, yeah.
They may have. They're like...
I've been seeing some of the hangar
shows.
They're
the kings of location.
Yeah.
They know
find
all
these
the locations.
Random locations that you would never expect, and it's insane.
Yeah. Like, you know, like there's, you know, you got Control Room. You've got, you know, the guys from Framework that do frames. Like there's a whole culture, a whole rave culture. You know, Dallas Ravers Club. Like there's a whole culture in the city of, you know, 7 to 10 really solid promoters that are creating these raves in warehouses and like all over the city. You know, you can like on a Friday night, you can go to 5 or 6 different raves. They're all packed. They're all lit.
Packed.
You know, and they like it's really like a vibe that's completely separate than anything you would find in Hollywood or anything you'd find in
100%. It's
downtown LA.
nothing like your typical. The people there are different. Everyone's there for the right reasons to have a good time. For the music.
To have a good time, you know, to get lit, you know, and not be under the constraints of, you know, what would happen in a regular club. You know, and like like even if you don't know anybody, like the cover rates are simple. They're like $20. They're not like $50 or $100 for this guy to get in or anything like that. You know, as long as you're willing to pay. And there's never any problems. There's never any fights.
No.
There's never, it's always
it feels safe.
Super plur vibes, you know, so I really love that. You know, I haven't been traveling enough to see what's going on in other cities and how it's going on, but, from what I've witnessed in Los Angeles and what I participate in, I absolutely love what's going on in the rave culture.
Same. Shout out to all the people a part of that, making our city look good.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a sick scene now.
Yeah, and they're really, they've taken it part. They've taken their role and really run it as a business. And that makes a world of difference, because you get guys that are just doing it, just like one-offs and things like that. They fall apart. The sound falls apart. The DJs fall apart. They get knuckleheads in there because they haven't curated their crowds. So, what these guys are doing, like,
hell yeah.
Sure.
Nice on the cues over there.
Yeah.
You're a New Yorker.
Yeah.
That's another reason I love you.
Yeah.
Because you're a New Yorker.
Yeah. I'm a Harlem baby. I lived all over the country as a kid, but New York was always my home, and Harlem is where my family does their thing, and has been a integral part of Harlem for 50 to 60 years. So, I'm a Harlem baby, but I consider myself a Hollywood guy now. Just because I've been here, for over 10 years, and it's home to me.
Yeah. Me too. I didn't think coming from New York to LA, I never thought LA would feel like home.
And yeah, it's just a vibe.
Now, not gonna lie, I like it. I prefer New York, but
I love
like
New
LA.
York. I love New York. I'll always be from New York, but being home out here has really changed my perspective. And it first started when I first moved out here, and I would travel, and I would get off the plane, and that feeling, the warmth, and you'd always have a friend that would pick you up some sort of substance.
That's a real one if you're picking up from LAX.
Yeah, they would have some sort of substance to knock you in a different direction, and landing in this beautiful weather, and coming back, and the beautiful women and the beautiful people, and that
Who's
vibe.
hotter, New York girls or LA girls?
It depends. It depends. Because the thing is, with New York girls, it's that swag that you can't, that you have to really be on top of your game to even speak to them. Because they're so, swagged up and defensive, just because there's so many dudes trying to holler at them, that it really it feeds your animal. But
You
LA,
like the chase.
Of course. Who doesn't like the chase? If it's not a chase, there's no fun. It's I did that, But LA has the hottest girls, from the models to the thoughts to, down the line.
What kind of girl do you find around you when you're DJing?
Oh, it's thoughts all day.
It's thoughts all day.
It's thoughts all day. It's thoughts all day, But, it's also dependent. If you're doing a high-end party, then it's more model girls. But if you're in clubs and raves and things like that, it's thoughts all day.
Thoughts all day. Girls never I don't know, my whole life girls were bitches to me until I started DJing.
Of course.
And then every girl wanted to be my friend and loves me.
Loves you because it's if you're not doing anything, then you're competition to them because they're not doing anything. But when you have a talent, they gravitate to that because there's something inside of them that wishes they had a talent too. So it's immediate, oh, she's hot, but she's talented.
And I never see a girl that looks like you DJing.
Yeah, no, but I noticed it as soon as you started DJing, because friends of mine that were girls were like, I love her.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about this. Right? I'm the only girl that girls wouldn't get mad. Girls that you would go out with wouldn't get mad if you're with me because they knew that we were constantly DJing together.
Yeah. No, it's having a talent changes everything because it gives people something to gravitate to then, oh, that's my homie. When I first got started with Pink Dots, I noticed that a lot of my friends all of a sudden had a deeper respect for our friendship. And, you know, they could see that it was going places and they supported that because it was like, hey, I may be witnessing something epic here. And it changed a lot of the friends that I had in our relationships because they, you know, they respected the talent, you know, and I'm the same way.
And you made their parties lit.
Of course, you know, like, but I'm the same way. Like, I respect talent over everything.
Yeah.
Because it's, you have something and you're also striving to be better at that, you know, and there's a lot of passion in that. There's a lot of dedication in that, a lot of, you know, taking yourself serious that I absolutely love.
Hell yeah.
So I respect talent like, you know, I get the same respect for talent. And I'm sure you get the same thing where it's like, you know, like you said, a lot of girls that wouldn't even talk to you or wouldn't even associate you and would have no problems like cutting fucking eyes at you. Now that you DJ, they're like, yeah, that's my girl right there.
Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah, that's my girl right there because it's, you know, you separate from just being a girl. You're like, oh, she's a DJ. That's lit. You know, so
Yeah,
it's like
fun.
A pretty girl has no problem supporting another pretty girl that's doing it because it's like, yeah, there's something about me that wants to do that too, or there's something that I admire in that, or there's something that I resonate with because it's like, yeah, another pretty girl getting lit, doing something for all of us.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, yeah, I love that.
So you went to Fashion Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
That was like my dream school growing up.
Mine too.
Like I would always go to New York for auditions and I would always stop at the Fashion Institute of Technology and walk through whatever exhibit they had.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That was like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. The exhibits were amazing. Going to school there was amazing. It was like you really don't understand fashion and style. Like I didn't have any concept of it. Like I had a cousin that was very stylish and he would give me his gear. And I had some sense of fashion and style, but going to FIT, like you learn style. Like I can't say everybody because the kids that live in the dorms weren't as lit with it, but the kids that commuted to the school, it was fashion show. Every class.
Oh, really?
Every class, every person. Every
That's
person
so
is lit.
crazy.
Like the more flamboyant kids, like were super lit. Like they would go to school and like these like garments that they made that were like, where the hell?
That
like,
is so cool.
So you're like, and I was a business major, but as a business major, you had to do classes that were involved in the artistic side of things. So you had to do like design classes and things like that. And you really, I love the fact that FIT was, the business major wasn't based strictly on business. Like a majority of your classes were business, you know, like consumer motivation and things like that. But you had to do everything else. Like you had to take a fashion design class. You had to take, you know, a graphic design class. You had to take, you know, all different classes that were involved in the artistic side. So you had a really well-rounded sense of fashion and not just, oh, I know the business side of fashion.
Right.
Like you had to really like, you know, and you also had to, you know, attend fashion shows, go to the gallery exhibits and be a part of that. And like, I was able to like meet amazing people because like Calvin Klein came once.
No way.
Oscar de la Renta came once. And as a student, you got to go to like the exhibits, like they do the exhibit, but then the first day they would come and they'd speak and they'd answer questions. And they were all very, you know, even though they were high level, you know, fashion icons, they seemed to really enjoy this because it was, you know, the students looking for, you know, any type of insight.
That is so cool.
So yeah, they did really cool things. Oscar de la Renta gave the entire section sketches, numbered sketches that he'd done. That, you know, like I had mine, I lost mine, but
of course
I
you
had
did.
mine. But it was like one of my favorite things I ever got because it was like,
and then you lost it,
yeah,
right?
because
Way
it was
to
like
go.
Design God.
That
you
is
know?
so sick.
But like, yeah, Donna Karan came and spoke. Karl Lagerfeld. Like they would do like serious high level designers. And like the funniest thing is there was a common hour every Tuesday and Thursday from like 12 to 2. So everybody in the school was off. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because it's where the school is, it's like right in the heart of the fashion district. And
so cool.
All of these designers and like people from like the fashion houses would come and sit and just take notes on what all the kids were wearing. And we all used to get pissed, but it was in the same way, it was very flattering because it was like, that's really the core of trends and style.
Literally.
And they would, literally.
And what's to come in the industry.
Yeah. So
that's the future of the industry.
Exactly. So they would, it was very smart of them to come and like take notes at what everyone was wearing.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And you have a line that you're developing now, which I've gotten to see bits and pieces of that I'm so excited for.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm doing it with a company called Pure Branding. Shout outs to Taha, Mobley, all my OJ, all my people over there. I met them. I met OJ at the Bella Thorne party 2 years ago at Coachella.
Oh, those parties were the Bella Thorne's parties.
At Coachella, they're lit. And by the way,
even when she had that crazy house in LA, would you ever go there? Literally, you go in the bathroom and there's literally a doll that's like with the scary mask thing. Her house is decorated for Halloween.
Yeah.
I don't think she lives there anymore, but it was decorated for Halloween all year round. Like, you would shut the door in the bathroom and be like, because there's this big thing in your face.
Yeah, she's definitely lit like that. Yeah, but I met OJ at her party, and he had on these skinny jeans that had like rips in them, and inside them he had green glitter, not glitter, but what do you call it? Sequin. And I was like, bro, where'd you get those jeans? And he's like, I made them. I was like, we need to talk, and we had a meeting probably about a month afterwards with him, Taha. We sat down, we started talking about things, and then I just kind of got sidetracked for a minute, and then about a year later, because we'd talk about things, but we wouldn't necessarily start things, and about a year later.
Typical, sometimes.
About a year and a half later, we finally locked in.
You were ready to go.
Yeah, I was ready to go, and we've been doing amazing things. It's a style that I'm not used to. We do everything through Zoom.
Oh, yeah. And where's he based?
He's in LA. They have a big warehouse out in Vernon where they do all their stuff, cut and sew, screen print, everything. Mm-hmm. But they're in LA. But this is just a strategy that he uses. And basically through the Zoom calls, they would create the merchandise, do all the designs. And it was a really new and interesting process for me because I'm usually very hands-on. Mm-hmm. Like I sit down, I look at everything, and I work with the person. So this strategy was new to me, but I really loved it.
That's the COVID strategy.
Yeah, yeah, and we were able to design the first look, and at first I was sold on it, and then once I got the garments on people, and then like put them on the garment rack, I'm looking to do something a little bit more in a different direction that we went with. But
that's like what it's all about, though, especially too with my clothing line that I have. Just getting the pieces, sitting with them, and then making adjustments until you have it where you want it.
Yeah, and
it's just like when you make music.
Yeah, like that to me is like the perfect way to do it because you're much more definitive. Because something could look good on a computer screen, something could look good, printed on a document, but until you get that garment and you try it on yourself, try it on other people, put it on a garment rack, look at it, and get it how you really feel. Like that's, and there's
for sure,
and there's no, I guess there's no wrong way to do it. I was watching something on YouTube Shorts and was talking about, I don't remember the designer, but he went through 54 samples to get one garment.
Wow.
54. And that was very inspiring to me, because like going through this process, like going back and doing a second round of samples, like at first I was like, am I crazy? And then after seeing that, I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
So I'm really excited to get into this next creation. I have a Zoom meeting on Saturday, and you know, I've just been doing some independent designs and doing a lot of research, doing a lot of like vision boards and like storyboards of like stuff that I really like.
I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You know I'm gonna be rocking it.
Yeah, I want to make something that people will wear, whether they're a fan of mine or a friend of mine, that someone will just see and be like, I like that. I want to buy that. You know, so that I feel is where I wanted to go, as opposed to relying on fans or anybody else that are like, oh, Pink Dots, I love him, I'm gonna get the shirt. Like, I want it to be like, oh, I love this shirt, and I don't care.
It's
who
more
it
of
is.
a brand. It's not merch. It's
a brand,
fashion company.
It's a clothing line, and that to me is where I see my future headed with apparel. You know, because I've done a lot of like independent apparel that I've made, and I like it, you know, but I want to do something really fashion forward, something that's, you know, more text driven than design driven, and something that I feel like people that don't know me will be like, I want that. Something that I can invest a lot of money into marketing. I can invest a lot of money into advertising. I can, you know, and invest into product placement, you know, and getting it out there, and, you know, doing something that can really like be, I guess, an extension of my DJ career.
For sure. Nowadays, you as a DJ, you're everything.
Yeah.
You're like 7 million things in one.
You're a creator, and you know, that's the one thing that there's not one creator that just does one thing. One of the biggest influences I saw as far as being a creator of all people was Blueface. It was because no one would expect
Blueface, baby.
But like, if you look at Blueface's hit music compared to his viral content,
right?
Like,
literally,
like he went, and there was it's not as much now, but there was a 6-month point where there was nobody hotter on the earth than him and Krishan. There was nobody, not even the Kardashians were as hot as them. They were the hottest thing on the earth. It had nothing to do with his music. It had everything to do with his content creation.
Right.
And one of the first people that introduced me that was Pop Smoke. There's a song, I can't remember the song, but on the end, he basically, it's like an interview segment, and he talks about it being a content creator. And, you know, for someone like him, he was an extremely successful musician, but his vision was being a content creator. And like I said, if you look at anybody that is in content creation, they do something else. They do music, they act, but all of us, we need to be content creators if we want to be successful.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And I love our chemistry, because I feel like we've already created such amazing content together. And I feel like as we go into the future, we're going to do a lot of amazing things, because back to back is just our style. You know, whether it's making music, doing podcasts, whatever it may be, that we have that great energy that does that. So like, I was really excited at the beginning of the year. Like, we went on a run making content.
We made so many.
Yeah, and it was really fun, and people loved it. Like, everyone that I would bump into, they'd be like, "Hey, I like what you're doing with that blonde hair girl." I'm like, "Yeah, so do I." You know, so I really look forward to this next phase, because I feel like what we did was like a test run.
And what we did was like more simple. Now we got the drones, we got everything. So we have some sick content coming for sure.
Yeah.
Your music journey is really interesting. I know that you were working at a label. You got fired from a label. There's that whole.
No, I wasn't necessarily working for a label. There was a point at about a year into my DJ career, which took off really fast. I was DJing for probably about 6 months indoors, and then
Indoors is in like in your room.
in my room. Yeah. Just like learning how to DJ, and like it was collecting my music and things like that. And I had a celebrity friend who would give me access to his AV studio where I could go practice. And one night, the manager of the studio called me, and he was like, "Yo, you got to get up here right now. This DJ sucks. They're having a sick party here. Just roll up." And I was like, "You sure?" He was like, "Roll up." And I went to the party and killed it. I guess that's just like my mantra for DJing is just fucking kill it. Like,
Right.
So I went up there, killed it. The promoter of the party fell in love with me and was like, "I need you as my DJ." And I was like, "Cool." I had no idea who he was. And he had me do 2 parties in Los Angeles that were kind of like high profile, like TV actors and models and things like that. So pretty high profile. And then he said, "Oh, I want to take you to Vegas." I said, "All right, cool." So we go to Vegas, and they had it in this suite that was like it was really big, nice suite. And first night was cool. Like it was just like a intro party to everybody. And then he didn't tell me, but then the next night he was like, "You're doing Leonardo DiCaprio's birthday party tonight." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You ready?" I was like, "Of course I'm ready."
Let's go.
And like we all know as DJs, like it's like what would you call it? Like a bucket list gig.
Right. For sure.
And I killed it. Everyone was like, "Wow." And like my DJ career from that point on just like flew through the ceiling. So like for me, it was weird that I never had like that hard luck trying to figure it out. It like success became very easy for me, and like it just kept on going.
Right.
And then a friend of mine,
The tour, right?
a friend of mine, Tony De Niro, it's like my brother. He took me on tour through all of Europe, and the tour ended in Dubai, and it was amazing. At the time I wasn't happy because I was like in like Austria and Germany and like kind of like these like cold regions, and I was an LA guy, so I was just like, I need to get home.
Oh, come on, Mr. New York.
Yeah, so, but it was these immense crowds of like 5,000 people, because like in Germany, they have these clubs that are like 100 kilometers outside of the city, whether it's Cologne or Berlin or things like that. And they're mega clubs, like 5,000 people, mega clubs. And it was nuts. It was nuts. I guess one of the funniest stories I had was the first gig, landed in Frankfurt, like literally like an hour before. And like we were in London for a week. So like we were just so burnt. Cause like we were in London.
London was right.
Yeah, like London, like we were partying heavy. And like we were with a celebrity who had broken the record for weeks at number 1. She had like a song that went 12 weeks at number 1. So like we're in town with like a huge celebrity. She wasn't that big in America, but in London she was huge. So like we're doing like openings, and like we're going to like Adidas, and they're like filling up bags for us. Like it was, and then we land in Frankfurt, and I had a half hour to 45-minute DJ set before she came on. And the guy's like, "You're on." So, and it was like a back door that led to the stage. And I get on stage and nothing is hooked up. Nothing is hooked up. It's not even plugged in. It's like literally dropped on stage. And all of a sudden I
Who
hear
the hell is running this?
yeah, and all of a sudden I hear my name being said, and then the guy's like in German, and he says my name like I'm going on, and I'm like, fuck.
So did you like set up the equipment in front of a
30
5,000?
seconds. 30 seconds. I was like,
Fastest CDJ setup in
Yeah.
world history.
yeah, like it was like I don't even know how I did it that fast, but like my sound was so party driven that like I killed the party, and I was able to every night do really well and get the crowds engaged, and it was really fun. It was really like eye opening. You know, it was a you know, a test of patience. You know, me and my guy Tony almost got murdered. Real talk. I'll tell you the town. It's called Bochum, Germany. And he at the time was going through an injury, and he couldn't see well. So I was kind of his guide going through each city. And we did this show, and there was a stipulation in the contract that if the mics weren't working properly, she could cut her show. She cut her show. So I'm packing up, and then next thing you know, Tony's like, yo, come here for a second. So I go backstage, and there's this big Russian guy standing there, and I'm like, listen, you know, there's a stipulation in the contract, the mics weren't properly, you know, I apologize. There's nothing I can do. It's not even my place to say. I'm just here, you know, trying to cool things out. And I was like, you know, have a good night. And when I go to walk out, I got my guy Tony with me who can't really see. So I got him like my arm around him, like steering him.
Steering him.
They blocked the door. 3 big Russian guys blocked the door. And it's like a backdoor entrance. And then behind the back door is it's like an alley where you could park tour buses.
Okay.
And then there's another door that leads to the exit. And we're parked on the other door in a Sprinter. And all of a sudden, this guy starts screaming at us in Russian.
God. Oh, God.
And the tour manager described it best. He said he had eyes like a wolf. So he had wolf eyes and these big fat fingers.
Ew.
And he's screaming at us.
In Russian.
In Russian. And the promoter.
Why is it always the Russians?
Yeah, the promoter, I'm like, yo, bro, what is he saying? And the promoter turns to me and he's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. And he starts to walk away, and I grab his hand, and he physically takes my hand off and pulls it off and walks away. And this guy's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And the 3 guys are looking at us like, we're about to take you to this alley and beat you to death. And I'm like, yo, Tony, we about to die, bro. And he's like, I think so.
And he can't see. So
And
it's a one-man show. It's just
he
you
can see.
versus...
Yeah, he can't like. But there's nothing we can do. Like we're outnumbered. Like we're done. And all of a sudden, the guy who booked the tour comes out of nowhere. We haven't seen him the entire tour. We've been on tour for 3 months. Have not seen this guy. We only saw him in the beginning when he like sent us off. He comes out of nowhere and starts screaming in this guy's face. And they're back like pointing to each other like this. That was my cue. I grabbed Tony, grabbed my equipment, and I beeline, as opposed to going out the back door, through the front of the club. And this is a mega club. This is like, I'd say, like damn near like a quarter mile.
Did you get the equipment? Like, that's what I'm worried
it was their
about.
equipment. It was their equipment.
Thank God.
Yeah, it was their equipment. So I'm running through this club with him. Like, I have him by his arm, and I'm running through the club, and people are running up to us to like, you know, like congratulate us or whatever, you know, like, because we just did the show. And I'm like kicking them away. I'm like, get out of my way. Run out of the club, top speed, jump in the Sprinter, jump behind the wheel. The tour manager's like, yo, we got to wait for Andre. I was like, bro, you got 2 seconds. You're either going to get in this van or you're going to die with him.
Right.
I'm not waiting.
Right.
So he's like, finally, he gets in the car, and we drove back to Cologne and checked into a hotel. And then we woke up the next morning, and we're like, damn, I think Andre might be dead. Because he was there by himself. And we're like, fuck. And we go downstairs, and he's sitting down in like the restaurant. Oh. We're like, oh God.
He survived.
Yeah, but that tour was amazing. You know, I was able to see like the world
Yeah.
and like DJ for global audiences. And then I came back and like right after I got back, I did Super Bowl week. And you know as well as I do, Super Bowl week is like one of the littest weeks you can ever DJ. And you're tired as fuck by the time it's done. But like you've DJ'd like 15,000 parties, like you've just, it's because it's a week. You know, so I come home from Super Bowl and a friend of mine by the name of Dougie D pulled up on me. He was like, yo, I want you to hear this artist. And I was like, bro, I'm tired. Like at this point, I've heard every artist in Los Angeles because like I was the lit DJ. So anybody managers like, yo, listen to my artist, listen to my artist. So I'd gotten a gauge of like all the talent. And he played me 3 songs. And by the 3rd song, I was like, yo, I'm that kid's DJ. Tell him to meet me in the studio on Monday. He was like, cool. And the artist was The Game. And at this point, he was signed to Aftermath, but he was kind of like in that lull that Dr. Dre has a lot of artists in, where you may get released, you may not get released, but you know, you got a nice car and you live well, you know, but a lot of them didn't get released. A lot of them that I knew personally never got released. And we went to the studio and we immediately had great musical chemistry. We had a trust that we could both speak freely about what we liked or what we didn't like. And we could also rely on, hey, is this right? And get an honest opinion. So we were very different as far as people, you know, like he's blood, you know what I'm saying? He's a gangbanger. Like I'm into a different type of gangbang. You know, we gangbang different.
Right.
You know, and like with me, I prefer being around women just for the energy's sake. You know, I'm not to say that I'm not masculine or anything like that, but I just prefer feminine energy than I do masculine energy. You know, so, and with him, he's rolling with 50 Bloods. You know, so it's a different, it's
Not like what you're used to.
Yeah, it's just, it wasn't necessarily my vibe, but the first mixtape we did, it was just me and him. And we just meet at the studio, or he'd record songs on the back end of his sessions. And when I stepped to him, I had a concept, and I was like, I want to make you the one-man NWA. And I want that to be the sales point of view. So as we built the mixtape, I incorporated a lot of NWA samples into it to kind of like feed into that concept. And as opposed to doing skits, we did interview segments. We did like 3 interview segments. So if you're hearing him as a new artist, you could kind of get a sense of who he was as a person.
Right.
And we just did it all on our own. And, you know, we got to a certain point that I always commend him because he came in the back and was like, yo, we need to finish this. And he sat with like 3 sessions with me as I finished up the mixtape and sat there all night with me, you know, and helped drive me. And we released it, and it was, at this point, he was getting a little bit more interest from Jimmy Iovine, and Jimmy Iovine halted us from selling it. So we could only release it like free. So it kind of put us in a situation, but it also drove us to do more. And we actually got lucky. I had spoken to someone at MTV that ran the MTV Raps department, a gentleman by the name of Shaheem Reed. And I was like, listen, I've got this mixtape. And I was like, is this artist The Game? He's like, I've heard of him. He said, send it to me. I sent it to him. And then all of a sudden, they used to have this show on MTV called TRL. TRL was it was like the hub for anybody that was, you know, between 14 and 20. Like TRL was the hub.
For sure.
They had this segment called Mixtape Mondays on there. and they did a amazing review of it. Sway did an amazing review, gave it like 5 stars, and that just basically catapulted everything because that exposure introduced him to millions of people. Within that point, he was signed to Interscope, then signed to G Unit within 3 months, and within less than a calendar year, he was triple platinum.
Wow.
And before he started to go, we went our separate ways, and it was just a fit. You know what I'm saying? Like who I was, who he was. It was like musically we were very in sync, but physically it was like oil and water. You know, because you know me, I'm stylish, I'm sexy. I like to keep girls around, Did
he not like to keep girls around?
No, he's 50 bloods deep. You know, not to say that he didn't like girls, you know, and he didn't do his thing, but he rolled 20, 30 bloods deep. And like, that's just not my vibe. Like, so after that, I was doing some stuff with different artists. Like I was, doing different things. And what I noticed is the things that I was doing, people in the industry were taking them and taking credit for them. Like I A&R'd a project.
Assholes.
From the ground up. And then the label owner ended up advertising on the single that his son was the A&R of the project. And they just signed to the label. Like they were on the label for a month. So the son hadn't even heard all the music. And there was other instances like that where I just get really...
Where you just keep getting screwed over and screwed over and screwed over. It's like, how much of that can you take before you break?
Yeah, and that kind of like put me in a situation where I separated myself from music for about 5 years. Not separated myself from music, but separated from myself from anything that had to do with the music industry.
Right.
I ended up doing a rock project, and I did it all independently. Was able to create a huge fan base through socials, did all the store stuff independently, and really this was during the CD era. So using CDs, I was able to make a considerable amount of money. The first release that I did for the project, we sold 10,000 natural CD copies, and that with bundles, took me up to about $250,000 in sales, which I would have to like sell millions of copies and millions of copies and spend millions of dollars to come home with $250,000.
Right. It's crazy. How can people find you on socials, and what can they expect to see next from you?
You can find me. It's all I Am Pink Dots on all socials. Right now, I'm working on a million things. I'm working heavily on my content creation, making sure that it's thorough and has a good representation of who I am and has a lot of different avenues in which to enjoy. I'm working on my clothing line, heavy back into video production right now, which I'm excited about, heavy back into design. I haven't really been DJing clubs as much lately. And over the last year, I've kind of reserved myself to raves. But I'm definitely getting back into that just because the fun aesthetic, and I guess I'm well off enough right now where I don't have to worry about money.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about
doing
fighting.
gigs you don't want to do.
Yeah. So, just basically the full package, the full content creation package, the full DJ package, full music production package, just pacing myself and making sure that I'm doing it all exactly how it needs to be done.
Oh, yeah. And we will see you next week.